Welcome back to AskAPop. Today we're talking about soul food at the ready. There used to be this TV show for you young kids. That's what people used to watch before there was streaming. It was called Name That Tune. Now, the more you knew about history and music history, you could name the tune in less and less notes and make more and more cash. Now, what in the world does that have to do with devotionals? Well, I can name that tune in 2 paragraphs. Because, see, last night, while I was watching the microwave go round and round with our favorite freezer meal, lasagna, it got me thinking about how I'd prepared that meal months ago and put it in the microwave so we could have a meal in minutes that, like I said, I prepared it months ago so we wouldn't have to wait hours on it to be prepared again, and we wouldn't have to have fast food. And it reminded me then and it kind of reminded me of how Papa had kind of trained me up on the Bible. You see, Papa had always praised me when I come home from church and be able to tell him what I've learned about that day or anything I've mentioned from church. But then he'd also say, well, honey, can you tell me in your own words? Sometimes I could. And then he'd really praise me. And then he'd say, a couple days later, he'd ask me again. And I got to where I could do that. And what I realized a little afterwards was the fact that he was trying to prepare me up to where in a parking lot or in work, somewhere other than church, he was getting me to where I would be able to recall and help people, give them hope or give them promise, and pull up a parable or passage when somebody needed that hope or help outside of the church, in a parking lot, at work, in a grocery store. You kind of get my drift here. Tony said she learned how to help people the same way, not with other words, but instead by memorizing exact passages, and does the same thing. Because recital of a beloved psalm or scripture, being able to do that is a powerful testament. See what I did there? Of God's moment in time. Because I've heard that sometimes the only or first Bible that somebody may read is the Christian right in front of them. So for anybody that comes across me as that first Bible, I want to do everything I can to make sure that the people that took the time to teach me, I want to make sure that they're proud, and maybe even have my Creator look down and kind of smile and look at me and say, yeah, that guy did okay. Just a thought from a guy that can name that tune in 2 paragraphs, and maybe with the help of the Spirit, name that verse a little bit quicker than that. The Bible verses today are Deuteronomy 6:1-9, and Matthew chapter 11. As far as questions go, do you have any favorite Bible verses? Me, I've actually got 3. Genesis 1:3, John 3:16-17, and Isaiah 40, verse 26. They're all related, actually. And the reason that they are is the same God that was powerful enough to speak the entire universe into existence also was able to name, knowledgeable enough to name all the stars, loved me enough to send his only son down to save me. God bless you. Have a great day.